good fight. You know, it's a good fight for both of them. Good fight for. I think it's more important for Crawford than anybody, you know, but I think if anybody could beat Canelo, I think Crawford could.
David Benavidez stunned the boxing world by backing Terence Crawford to take down Canelo, snubbing his own claim as the true challenger.
I know you said like he could be the guy. What kind of a chance do you ultimately give him?
I think you give him like a 7 out of a 10.
Oh wow, that high. I thought you were gonna say like 25.
No,
just because of the size.
Good. Crawford is good. And
David Benavidez recently stirred up controversy in the boxing world, not with a punch, but with a statement that has sparked heated debates among fans and experts alike. Benavidez boldly declared that if anybody can beat Canelo, it's Crawford, sending shockwaves through the sport. While it's not uncommon for fighters to back one another, the implications behind his statement are much deeper. Not only is he backing a smaller fighter jumping up 2 divisions, but he's indirectly casting doubt on Canelo Alvarez's dominance in the super middleweight division. A bold move, especially when many believe Benavidez himself was the rightful next opponent for the Mexican champion.
Of course.
I think he's been known that he's gonna fight Canelo for a long time, and you know Crawford he likes to pick up the weight, so I'm sure he's been working on the weights for a long time. So you know, Crawford, when he has, with a person that has a big IQ like that, if you do enough weights, you know, and you stay working for a long time, you know, you have a puncher's chance.
For a long time, the boxing world anticipated a showdown between Benavidez and Alvarez. It would have been a classic matchup, the young, hungry bull challenging the seasoned lion. But despite the stars seemingly aligning, the fight never materialized. Fans were left pointing fingers. Some accused Alvarez of ducking Benavidez, while others claimed Benavidez wasn't ready or lacked the pull to make the fight happen. Either way, the bout never took place, leaving Benavidez to focus on his own journey. Fresh off a convincing unanimous decision win over David Morrell, Benavidez is now inching closer to a light heavyweight title shot. Even though the Canelo fight didn't happen, Benavidez seems to have moved on, finding himself intrigued by another storyline, one involving the unlikely challenger Terence Crawford stepping up to face Canelo in a September blockbuster.
If Canelo fight me today, probably be the biggest fight in his career. My career too. That'd be the biggest paycheck he makes in his career. If I'm such a bad fighter that he could come beat me and I'm nothing, why wouldn't you just come beat me, shut me up, get the respect from the people, and make a big paycheck? What's the problem?
To him, you're not the first guy I'm gonna look at the list and say, yeah, give me that guy.
How long does the list have to go to until you say I want a good fight for my people?
You beat Bivol, you become champion. Do you think you entice Canelo, or like this dude beat the dude that beat you?
That was my play. I'm tired of talking about Canelo. I don't think he's ever gonna give me an opportunity.
It's up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money.
100 million, dude.
When you're a warrior, bro, the only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. It's always a prize. Go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend.
Crawford will jump up from junior middleweight to challenge for all of Canelo's titles at 168 pounds. For the first time in his storied career, Crawford enters as a slight underdog, a reality that many consider understandable given the weight disparity. But Benavidez isn't buying into the narrative that Crawford is out of his league. He sees something different, a fighter with the skill set and heart to shock the world.
Bivol is the fight you gotta study if you're Crawford. Crawford ain't Floyd, but he can do a Bivol. The problem is Bivol's a big dude. This is rough because this fight is only a matchup fight. Let me tell you what I mean. I got a lot of fighters Canelo fought at 168 beating Crawford. I got Caleb Plant beating Crawford. I got Berlanga beating Crawford. I got Callum Smith beating Crawford. Just way too huge, of course. But that's why Crawford ain't campaigning at 168. He's trying to beat Canelo because Canelo is a special case. He's one of the best fighters of all time, and he's actually a little guy who ballooned up to 168.
Canelo Alvarez is still riding high as the undisputed super middleweight champion, yet his recent performance against William Skull was far from impressive, lacking the action and dominance fans have come to expect. That performance raised eyebrows, including those of former cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew. Bellew, known for his analytical breakdowns, pointed out that Canelo's reflexes have slowed with age. While acknowledging Alvarez's greatness, Bellew emphasized that Crawford is far more formidable than his size suggests.
What would you rather see more? Canelo and Crawford, or Fury and AJ? And you know what? I thought to myself, ooh, if you'd asked me that 12 months ago, I'd have jumped to Fury and AJ all day. But if you'd asked me now, I don't know. I think I might want to see Canelo. I don't know. Do you know what? For British boxing and the domestic scene, I'd rather see Fury and obviously Fury and AJ. but for an actual boxing match and a spectacle.
Yeah, there's lots to be
Canelo
said.
and Crawford is right up there. I mean, listen,
huge.
if I could make any fight in boxing right now, it would be Tank, and I knew it.
Meanwhile, former WBA super middleweight champion George Groves offered a more skeptical view. He believes the weight jump will be too steep for Crawford to overcome. Groves praised Crawford's balance, skill, and intelligence, but argued that the physical difference between 154 and 168 pounds is significant. From his perspective, Canelo has grown into the division naturally and carries power that Crawford simply hasn't experienced before. He doesn't expect Crawford to be able to hurt Canelo and sees the fight as a step too far for the American. Groves said, "I can't see how Canelo can't win. He's had a lot of fights now, but there doesn't seem to be too many miles on the clock. Canelo is not a fighter who is finished, and it's a sort of catchweight fight with Terrence Crawford moving up 2 divisions. Canelo is not the tallest or the biggest super middleweight, but has comfortably been there long enough that he has filled out now in that division. Crawford has only recently moved up and fought at super welterweight and is now moving up." Kyrone Davis, a fighter who has sparred both Canelo and Crawford, provided a unique take. He acknowledged that Crawford's preparation and adaptation to the new weight class would be crucial. Davis noted that Crawford has already begun bulking up effectively in training, which could lessen the shock of the jump. Still, Davis leaned toward Canelo, citing his experience and natural power at 168 pounds. However, he was quick to point out that Crawford's mental toughness and skill could make him a real threat, even in unfamiliar territory.
You've been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been in there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo's experience. But then you got Crawford, he got great experience as well. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody could do it, it'll be Terrence Crawford.
Another perspective came from Dimitri Bivol, one of the rare boxers to beat Canelo. Bivol noted that unlike recent opponents like John Ryder, who fought cautiously, Crawford is aggressive and relentless. He suggested that Crawford's pace could disrupt Canelo's usual rhythm, forcing the champion into uncomfortable territory, something Bivol himself successfully did. Bivol sees this as a stylistic advantage for Crawford, provided he can sustain the tempo over 12 rounds.
I think Crawford wants this fight a lot. He wants this fight, and I think he will be more active than Canelo's previous opponent, and he has different mentality. He has champion mentality. I think the fight will be much more interesting.
What do you make of the weight in that fight, the weight difference?
I think Crawford will not let Canelo just walking on the ring when he wants, because we could see this fight. Canelo did everything. When he wanna rest, he could rest easy, in this fight. Yeah, of course, when he wants to work, that guy didn't give him work. He just rest. And I think with Crawford, it will be harder to rest.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know. It's a very interesting fight, but I don't know.
Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao also chimed in, albeit in a subtle way. While preparing for his comeback fight against Mario Barrios, Pacquiao was asked about the mega fight. His advice to Crawford was short and clear: focus on speed and style. Although he followed it up with a vague endorsement of Canelo, fans took it as a cryptic nod of respect for Crawford's ability. Still, Pacquiao's overall tone suggested he believed Canelo would prevail, perhaps more due to pragmatism than sentiment.
About Canelo versus Crawford. Crawford's moving up like 20 pounds. What do you think?
Good. Good for Canelo.
Good for Canelo? Manny, any advice on Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times. Any advice for Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times and you were successful. What do you tell Crawford? Any advice?
My advice to him is just focus on speed and
Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas didn't hold back. He questioned Canelo's resume, pointing out controversial wins and suggesting that Alvarez has long benefited from size advantages and favorable matchmaking. Atlas praised Crawford's hunger, discipline, and technical excellence, arguing that those traits could help him overcome the physical odds. According to Atlas, Crawford is simply more motivated and driven, and that could make all the difference in this high-stakes clash.
He had trouble with a 154-pound guy when he went up from welterweight to that. So now he's going up to 168. Teddy, come on. How are you going to make an argument? You're going to make an argument to this, to the history of this sport, where little guys have been able to beat big guys, because you reverse it. You reverse who's got the advantage and the disadvantage. Yeah, the size, the power of Canelo, he's got the advantage. Then all of a sudden you go back and you say, wait a minute. The other guy's faster. The other guy's craftier. The other guy has more options. The other guy is slicker. Oh, maybe he's got the advantages. Like the first time Pacquiao fought De La Hoya. And I know De La Hoya was having trouble with weight and all that. I get it, and that's fair. But still, I remember I picked that one. Every once in a while I pick one right. I remember that I picked that one where Pacquiao's going to win. And I said, yeah, you're saying that De La Hoya's bigger, he's stronger, he's got the power edge, he's got this edge, but the other guy's quicker. And that's going to be an edge, and it was an edge. So at the end of the day, people that thinks Crawford is very, very special. I'm not saying Canelo's not, but I think he's special in a different way, where he's got instincts that not everyone has. Yeah. That it's the timing, it's the instinctual things, the X factors, the intangibles that he has. And I think they're gonna show themselves. I really do. And I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait to see a smaller guy use those intangibles, use those X factors to beat a bigger guy. I always wanted to see.
Longtime broadcaster Jim Lampley offered a more balanced view. He called it a rare bout between two elite talents still at their peak. Lampley was particularly impressed with Crawford's ability to seamlessly switch between defense and offense, likening him to legends from past eras. While he slightly favored Canelo due to the weight factor, Lampley left the door open for Crawford to pull off a surprise, especially if the fight goes into the championship round.
You're not going to beat Canelo until somehow over a long period of time Canelo beats himself. If he gets tired of all the discipline he has had to employ to make all the money he's made, if he has enough giant ranches in the Yucatan, if he has enough beautiful horses, if he has had enough unforgettable dinners with Mexican billionaires in Mexico City and Vegas, then maybe. But my guess is he will retire without incurring another loss, because it's important to him to.
Bernard Hopkins raised an important concern: the long-term impact of moving up 2 weight classes. While he acknowledged Crawford's brilliance, Hopkins warned that the physical toll could be significant. He wondered whether the reward is worth the risk, especially if it compromises Crawford's longevity in the sport.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo, fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic, it makes sense, and less life risking.
Errol Spence Jr., who suffered a crushing loss to Crawford, expressed admiration for his former rival. Spence emphasized Crawford's discipline and belief in himself, and while he recognized the dangers of facing a bigger, stronger opponent, he felt that if anyone could overcome the challenge, it would be Bud.
I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it, why can't?
Roy Jones Jr., who famously moved through multiple weight classes during his own career, turned the spotlight on Canelo. He argued that all the pressure was actually on Alvarez. As the naturally bigger man, Canelo is expected to win, but if he fails to dominate, or worse, loses, Jones believes it would damage his reputation and raise questions about his legacy.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic, it makes sense, and less life risking.
On the other end of the spectrum, Mexican legend Julio Cesar Chavez dismissed the fight entirely as a business move rather than a true contest of equals. Chavez argued that the size and strength gap would be too much for Crawford to overcome and predicted a dominant performance by Canelo, possibly ending with an early stoppage.
Es una pelea muy dispareja, la verdad. Crawford es un gran peleador, pero no tiene nada que hacer en ese peso. Con todo respeto, él va por el dinero y Canelo lo va a noquear.
The two fighters are going to be different weight classes, even though they're going to fight on a specific weight. He believes that they're just going because of the money, Crawford, but probably Canelo is going to knock him.
Eddie Hearn has floated the idea that this could be Canelo's final bout. With Alvarez nearing 35, Hearn speculated that the years of intense training and physical toll might prompt him to retire soon after. He suggested that Canelo may not view this matchup with Crawford, a smaller, lighter fighter, as a meaningful legacy fight. Instead, Hearn believes the only reason this showdown is happening is the financial incentive involved. In his view, a substantial payday was the key motivator, not the competitive challenge.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and like life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Amir Khan, who has been in the ring with both fighters, added his perspective based on personal experience. He was stopped by Canelo in a dramatic knockout and also dominated by Crawford, but noted a stark difference in how the two operate. While Canelo's raw power is undeniable, Khan highlighted Crawford's more subtle strengths, specifically the way his punches may not appear powerful but carry surprising sting. More importantly, he emphasized Crawford's incredible ability to read his opponent. For Khan, it's not Crawford's athleticism that sets him apart, but his mental acuity and sharp timing. He argued that Crawford's strategic mind and sense of positioning could allow him to offset the size disadvantage he faces against Canelo.
Much from sharing the ring with him and doing the camps with him, what benefits would Crawford had to be fighting against a bigger man? Is it the ring IQ, dominating the center? Like, what benefits do you think he has?
You need everything in the game. You need from your ring IQ, you need the movement, you need the power, you need the speed. And Crawford does hit hard. A lot of people don't give Crawford the credit for the punch power he has. Well, Crawford does hit hard. I mean, I've been in the ring with him. He's hit me hard. Obviously, the most powerful fighter in between the two is going to be Canelo, but I think Crawford still has enough power to hurt.
Khan went further, suggesting that Crawford's boxing intelligence is often underestimated. Despite being the smaller fighter, Khan believes Crawford's sense of distance, speed, and sharp instincts could allow him to stay competitive, while acknowledging the clear risk of facing a power puncher like Canelo. Canelo, Khan maintained that Crawford has the mental edge to navigate those dangers with precision and possibly shift the momentum of the fight.
Crawford is a good friend of mine. Obviously, we fought each other, but sometimes you put that to a side, and he shared the training camp with me last time. He spent some good time with me. I was at his house, and always shows love. So look, he's one of the best fighters in the world. For him to go up 2 divisions is something I did back in the day when I was at the peak of my career after beating like Devin Alexander and all the big names. So look, I wish him all the very best, and I think he can do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? One thing about Terence Crawford, he has great box IQ. Yeah. His IQ is so perfect where he'll see everything, so yeah.
Legendary promoter Bob Arum offered a more direct and critical viewpoint. He questioned the motivations behind Canelo's recent performances, implying that the Mexican star is more focused on cashing in than chasing greatness. Arum pointed to a noticeable decline in excitement in Canelo's recent fights and claimed that the difference in this bout will come down to which version of Canelo shows up, the fierce competitor of old or the more cautious veteran who now treats the sport like a business. In Arum's opinion, Canelo's intentions could ultimately dictate how the night unfolds.
Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. But again, if Canelo really fights, because I think safe to say Terence always fights. He doesn't know anything else. So then it could be a very good, interesting fight.
You've always praised Terence as a special fighter. Do you think he can beat Canelo?
Who is Canelo? What Canelo is going to show up? The Canelo who's looking to cash a big check, or the Canelo that really wants to fight like a fighter? Now, the Canelo we've seen the last 2 years is not only boring, but doesn't really have an incentive to mix it up and to entertain people with a good fight.
Jaron Boots Ennis, initially unsure of who would win, has slowly leaned toward Canelo as fight night nears. He expressed concern over Crawford's decision to skip competing at 160 pounds and jump directly to super middleweight. Ennis argued that the move is risky and perhaps unnecessary, especially considering Canelo's proven dominance over larger opponents. For him, Crawford's gamble isn't just bold, it might be dangerously overconfident. With no previous experience against someone with Canelo's power, Ennis believes Crawford may be stepping into uncharted territory with serious consequences.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it, so so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Rolly Romero echoed similar thoughts, but with more intensity. Drawing a comparison to Canelo's devastating knockout win over Amir Khan, Romero predicted a similarly violent outcome for Crawford. In his eyes, the physical gap between the two fighters is too wide, and he doubts Crawford can handle the kind of power and pressure Canelo will bring. Romero doesn't see this as a close match. He sees it ending decisively in Canelo's favor.
So, all the people who think Crawford would even have a single chance against Canelo, they're fucking stupid.
Really, you have a way with words like nobody else.
No, but I hate it when people say that. They're fucking stupid.
On the technical side, trainer Robert Garcia offered a more nuanced analysis. He believes Crawford's speed and footwork will give him an early edge, potentially disrupting Canelo's timing in the initial rounds. However, Garcia foresees Canelo gradually turning the tide by doing what he does best, applying relentless pressure and targeting the body. As the rounds progress, Garcia expects the wear and tear of Canelo's physical attacks to break Crawford down, especially if the smaller man struggles to keep the bigger, stronger Alvarez at bay.
Use your skills, speed, try to fight on the outside, and he does have skills, man. He is a real talented fighter, so I think he's gonna put up really good rounds, maybe at least 5 or 6 rounds. He's gonna put up really good rounds. Eventually, I think later rounds, Canelo starts catching him, breaking him down. But I do see Crawford putting up. Crawford's, he's the man. He's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He's very talented. I think he will put up a good fight.
You said Canelo maybe later in the rounds comes on, and puts pressure on him. But Canelo more recently, the later rounds, it's a little slower, maybe gives up a couple of them because he's already kind of won. That'd be kind of a different strategy, right? Can he still do that?
It has to, but he has to, because I think the first half, I think it'll be Crawford's fight. I might be wrong also, because Canelo's also very talented. Let's not take that away from him. He's very talented. But I do see Crawford maybe taking the first few rounds, the first half of the fight, and then Canelo forcing himself to pressure and try to dominate it that way, because knowing that he might be a little bit behind, he's gonna be forced to do it. And he's got the strength, he's got the power, he's got the skills to do that too.
With the fight now scheduled for September 13th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, anticipation is reaching fever pitch. This is not just a bout between two champions. It's a generational clash between greatness and ambition, between the established king and a challenger daring to dream beyond his size. Each voice in the boxing world sees the fight through a different lens, but all agree on one thing: no matter the outcome, this is a matchup for the ages.